Hi everybody, my name is Skaji,
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
and we're coming to you with yet another Tea and Tarot video.
Podcast.
Words, visions.
We're coming to you from Books, Beans, and Candles right here in Birmingham, Alabama. We're glad you're with us. A few announcements. We will not be having an in-person Tea and Tarot event for October because the day after we would normally do that, we have our annual Psychic Fair.
Psychic Fair?
Psychic Fair.
What's Psychic Fair, Skaji?
Well, that's where we have lots of different types of readers doing different modalities. That'll all be here. Readings are $15 each for a 10-minute reading. And you can go to more than one. You just buy a ticket for each one you want to visit with. Now, these are timed. We have little appointment slots to kind of keep everything flowing. So it's a good idea, if that's something that interests you, to get your tickets early so you can get the appointments you want, because some of our readers do have sheets that fill up very quickly. So again, that Psychic Fair is October the 4th.
Yes.
It's from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And you can always reach out to the shop through the social medias and all of those other things to get more information. And you can call up here to check it out and get your tickets over the phone. You can come in and get them. On the third Friday of each month, we do have our Sips and Stars at 6 p.m. That's an interactive astrology event. On the fourth Monday of each month, we have our Magic City Pagans discussion group. That's at 6 p.m. as well. We will be having an in-person event for Tea and Tarot the first Friday of November. And we will not be having an in-person event for December, because the very next day we're having a special person show up. Who would that be?
Krampus, that's right.
Krampus.
Krampus is coming to town.
So Krampus will be here December the 6th, and that usually is from 10 a.m. until about 6 p.m.
5 to 6 maybe, but it definitely starts at 10 a.m. for sure.
And Krampus will be here for photos. You can find more information about that on the social medias and the shop's webpage as well. I think that's all of the things that I know anything about.
Yeah. Everything else is a secret.
Just secret.
So, tonight we're going to be talking about the Hermit. So, the traditional Hermit that you may be familiar with is this guy here from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. He even ended up making an appearance on a Led Zeppelin album cover.
Ooh.
Slightly different dude, but he was there. And I think it was off of Zeppelin 4, along with the dude with the bundle of sticks. We see the word hermit today, and we think of somebody that doesn't leave their house. And that is certainly one aspect of it. But a lot of times, clients will see this card show up and think that it indicates loneliness. But that's really not the vibe I get from the Hermit itself.
Right.
Just because we're all alone doesn't mean that we have to be lonely.
If the reading is a little bit more lighthearted, I like kind of comparing the Hermit to like Gandalf, where he goes out to somewhere in Middle Earth and collects this, important, esoteric, major knowledge, kind of marinates in it, deconstructs it, does whatever he needs to do with it, and then comes back and returns with that as like a teacher, as like a sage, or somewhere who can like lead with this information uncovered. So that very sort of like a solitary journey out into wherever, the self, outside, who cares? But that's for you. And then kind of figuring out this thing for yourself so that when you return to the populace, for whatever context that holds, you have kind of a new understanding of yourself or of certain information. So.
And it does often come across with a teacher kind of vibe. And so that's another aspect of it. And it also is related to wisdom gained through lived experience,
Right.
and also the sort of the inner spiritual journey,
Right.
As a something that when you really get down to it, we all do alone.
I mean, how else do you process all this information that you've been learning for so long? It's hard to internalize that if you're just constantly going on the go, surrounded by people. We need that self-reflection and that moment to ourselves to fully process all the information that we just learned, so that way we can apply it in a very healthy way.
Yeah.
And a similar but slightly different take on the card is the Muka Tarot. And in this, instead of being kind of standing up on a mountain or kind of out looking over the world, she's kind of in the dark woods or in a cave. I kind of get the vibe of spider webs coming
Right.
off of those, and she's almost like she's holding on to that lamp as a sort of security blanket.
Right.
Nightlight, something. This will provide me security and safety through
Right.
this dark moment, and the long dark tea time of the soul.
It has almost like a shadowy, like shadow worky kind of vibe too, with
It
that
does.
particular kind of thing, where it really kind of internalizes that sense of we have to think about some stuff for ourselves a little bit, which I like.
And this one here is from your deck.
Yeah, that one's from the Slow Hauler. I like the weird interpretation of it, frankly, because here it's a really weird mixed bag of you have the egg shape around this person with this like conceptualization of we have to literally kind of close ourselves off to process some of this. I like that the little like marks around them have like it's supposed to be like the light beams, but it also kind of looks like a clock as well, really signifying that like we mean time when we say this. And also here they're inside, it's like a lighthouse or a beacon, so they're inside of that light source itself, so it very much has like that really interesting kind of conflict almost of being closed off, being sheltered in this particular way, but then also you are the radiance that comes out of it. So it's a really kind of different interpretation, but one that I really like. It's a very strange, crunchy kind of vibe.
And with that them being inside that egg shape, and the egg, the cosmic egg, the universal egg, is a sort of source of life,
Right.
Sort of a primary place spiritually to come from. Being inside that has that sort of I'm encapsulated, almost cocoon-like.
Right.
And then I'm going to pop out, a baby duck.
And then also, because this deck is a collaboration deck between Southern queer artists, there is kind of this like colloquial saying of like if you're trans, of cracking your egg, kind of reflecting inward to the self and figuring out where do you lie on the gender and sexuality spectrum. And so I think that like added level of that, especially with the Hermit, where it is so self-reflective, kind of also has that connotation in this deck as well, which is fun. Yeah.
And this one is your deck, Martin?
Yes, this is the Hermit from the Fyodor Pavlov deck. I know it's a deck that Stevie normally uses, but I've been really getting into it the past couple weeks. And so whenever I see the Hermit in this deck in particular, I'm thinking of it from a magical practitioner angle to it. So I see a young witch. Maybe she has just finished her year and a day of study and is on her way to her initiation. She has all the knowledge under her belt with her little, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say familiar on her shoulder, helping guide her along the way as she is preparing for this big ritual.
And it does have that sort of, the Hermit can often talk about the end of a learning experience. We start off knowing nothing, the fool. We go through these learning experiences, and then we come back as a teacher. This one here is from the Urban Tarot, which is a Thoth style deck. I like this card because it shows us a different take. We can imagine that this fella is in the subway. He looks like he's, as the Brits might say, living rough. And what might look like he's lighting a cigarette or something there is really it's a little light that he's holding close. So, but he's not up on a mountain. He's not in an egg. similar to the Muka, he is in a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
Holding it very close to him.
But he's got that light to help him get through. But another thing that's interesting is we have this good doggo. He's a good old boy, Cerberus, in the background. Cerberus was the doggo that guarded the gates of Hades. So we can see this as he is there also at the gates.
Mm-hmm.
We can imagine him as a psychopomp, somebody who escorts souls.
Right.
So in addition to teacher, we have someone who knows how to travel.
Right.
And maybe like Gandalf, he arrives precisely when he means to. This one, I like it. I think it's nifty. This is from the Pulp Tarot. And this hermit, he's not standing on top of the mountain, and he's not at the bottom, and he's not underground. It's almost like he's waiting on us to catch up.
Right.
Will you hobbits pick up the pace?
But it does show that path. So we see this path where it doesn't look like an easy road.
Mm-hmm.
But there he is, waiting on us to catch up. He's probably hollering at us for being slow.
Yeah.
But I really dig this kind of vibe because it shows him in a little more dynamic role as somebody who's taking the journey with us.
Right. And also perhaps that he's traveled it well enough many times before to actually know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Also like the connotation of it not being the top of the mountain because, as we are never done being students.
Mm-hmm.
We become more knowledgeable about a lot of things, but the journey is never ending. There's always new things to learn. So, yes, our goal is to reach that peak of the mountain, but it just keeps growing. It's a living mountain.
I just want to level up. So that's the Hermit card. And we're going to do us a little spread this evening. I got one that's inspired by fallness.
What does that mean?
By fallness?
Okay, so the autumn is coming. All right, kind of coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We already have our autumn specials down in the cafe. Join us for a latte today.
So with that, I was thinking about. Sometimes we need to just kind of prepare for things. We need to draw stuff in. And I was thinking about squirrels. So a great many oak trees exist because squirrels are forgetful.
Okay.
They bury their little acorns and they forget where they are, and then the tree grows. But this is the time of the year when they might be they're starting to collect acorns, set them aside. You may not know, but squirrels build nests up in trees. And so this is a little 5-card spread.
Okay.
All right, so we're the squirrel. We start off, and we're going to have 3 cards that represent the acorns, the things we need to collect.
Okay.
And then there's the stuff at the end. All right, so we're starting off, we get our stuff, and then we move forward. So, and I'm using the wildwood for this because
Squirrels.
Squirrels. Hey, check it out.
I'll say I love this deck so much.
And another funny way of dealing with these, or looking at these cards, is, well, first you have to be able to see them.
Okay.
Maybe the editor will put them up on the screen for us. So this is where we start off. These represent our acorns, the things we need to collect.
Mm-hmm.
And one way of looking at it is, these are the ones we bury to save for later.
Okay.
These are the ones we may need to snack on right now.
Hmm.
And these are the ones we put in the nest for a little bit later also. Okay? And then this is kind of where we're, after that process, where we move forward. So it starts off with the 7 of vessels and element of water. And they call this card mourning. There's a little skull there, but it's almost like there's, we can think of it as honoring ancestors, honoring the dead. And something else with that is if we're in a place where we need to collect stuff to us, maybe we need to start with taking stock and remembering and respecting how we got here.
Yeah.
Because there are aspects of our lives that are gone, but sometimes we need to honor those things that have got us here. That might be one way of looking at that. Thoughts?
With the Seven of Vessels, I like the interpretation of this one with that kind of mourning aspect is really interesting because, like, compared to like a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that's not overly typical of it. So I like
Right.
how the different decks change it. With this one, I think it does have like that. It's not all bad and it's not all like a bummer, but it is very like that kind of holding the gravitas for it and keeping a more realistic approach as opposed to like maybe more traditional like Seven of Vessels vibe. So keeping that little element of groundedness as well. Don't get in so far over your head that you forget these very vital things. So.
So I'm going to move to this guy right here. So these are the acorns on the ground. Maybe we're going to snack on them now. And what we have is the Knight of Bows. Bows in this deck is the element of fire. And so there we have the fox, but he's a little bit reversed. So what we need to collect now, if we think of the fox, in some ways he's often thought of as tricksy.
Wily little fox.
But in many cultures, he is considered to be wise, be a powerful critter. And the knights, being active, being an active kind of thing, we could see this as a reversed card. I think maybe one of the things to take stock of, to take in, is to be more wary.
Yeah.
Not in such a hurry.
It kind of has that vibe of like, you think you're smart. Are you sure?
Yeah. So, yeah. Taking a look at our own BS.
Right.
Maybe a thing that we need to do now. And with our Ace of Bows, another fire card. And the aces are often the beginning, the start. And they call this the spark of life, and that's what we see. They're having this little, it's almost like that's what's called a bow drill. And it is a way of starting fires.
Yeah.
And the arrow, I think it's interesting. The bow is the element of fire. Arrows in this deck is air. So we have both of those aspects. And so the thing that we might need to bury, to collect and set aside, is hang on to the things that inspire us. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves, why the heck do I do this to begin with?
Yep.
And I think especially with like that Knight of Bows like being reversed, kind of right in close beside it.
Yeah.
The reconceptualization a little bit. We're kind of planting these new seeds and planting this reconceptualization of like, okay, so I'm not so smart. So kind of beginning to figure out, well, what does that mean? What do I do next? And kind of doing something instead of just fermenting and like my feelings are hurt.
And up top, we have the Four of Arrows, also reversed. And they call this rest. That dude don't look like he's resting. That dude looks like somebody was chunking arrows at him.
Permanent rest.
But there's that butterfly. But this is a reversed card. So this is another thing that we need to draw in, to hang on to collect for things that are coming. We're coming up on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I get the vibe of don't be in a hurry.
Yeah, it seems to be the overarching theme of the acorns that we got going on. Like, now is the time to really just slow down, take stock of what it is that fuels us, what drives us, without burning all the bridges along the way.
Yeah. And then I think especially too, because this is going to be your swords, right? Like the bows, yeah. The Four of Swords reversed. I think there is no rest right now, though. Like, don't burn yourself out, of course, but like, I think. Because we love our wands and our swords too, for that matter. But like they can be so consumed with the doing of stuff sometimes that there isn't really that moment of like conceptualization of like, okay, but you still have to like run 5 miles.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
don't
a pace yourself kind of vibe.
Pace yourself, and also like don't get so lost in the fifis of it that you stop moving. Like we want to stop, but we also can't really do that either. And having to find and kind of either, discipline or kind of force yourself into something that's a realistic pace that isn't just like laying down and dying.
Yeah, we need to find another speed other than stop and go.
Yeah.
Please find a happy medium.
A gentle walk through the park.
Yeah.
And so as our outcome here, we have the 3 of Vessels reversed. They call this joy. Oh my goodness.
Well, find you some friends, but they'll suck.
So sometimes when a card like this shows up at the end, it has the vibe for me of, okay, this is not your inevitable outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this could be an outcome if you don't do the things you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way that this is feeling here, in that, we can think of that 3 of Vessels reversed as a sort of joyless, dry spell kind of thing. Being thirsty, not having that emotional kind of vibe.
Mm.
So maybe we do need to slow our roll, pace ourselves, take into consideration how we might need to rethink our path, and what set us out on there, what positive things led us out this way to begin with.
And it also looks too kind of like all the cards up to this point, right, are very like you doing the most, like very solitary, very kind of like focused on like one's own internal feelings.
Like the Hermit?
With the Hermit. So not in a good way here, because it's kind of so with that like Vessels there at the end, it's like, have you considered externalizing a little bit so that it's not just you doing these things? Because there is very much that emotional unfulfillment and kind of like that connectedness way.
Mm-hmm.
This continues forward if you don't, stop. Do that.
If you keep waiting for your friends to reach out to you first, like, you might be just sitting in your apartment for a while. Be a little bit more active.
Why am I sad? Why is everything bad?
That reminds me of this gives you a hint how old I am. I remember when I got my first answering machine on a landline, and I was so excited people were going to be able to get in touch with me. I didn't get a phone message for a month. I was like, why does nobody like me? And so maybe, I was having to reach out to folks.
Yeah. You have to give them a reason.
Either that or all my friends knew where I was and didn't have to call me.
Listen, object permanence does not go away after like infancy and like toddlerhood or whatever. So
So here we are with our, and I call this the squirrel spread, and we appreciate you being with us for the October edition of our Tea and Tarot
thing
video cast.
Videocast.
Audio. We hope to see you in person in November, the first Friday. But remember, our Psychic Fair is coming up on October the 4th. Check it out on the social medias and the shop's webpage for more information. You can always call up here to get more information or to purchase your tickets. And we look forward to seeing y'all again soon. My name's Skaji.
And I'm Stevie.
I'm Magda.
Safe journeys.